Hello my friends, in today's video we will take a look at the Zhiyun Smooth 5S. Zhiyun Smooth line, the one without the Q, is one of very few remaining lines of smartphone gimbals that prioritize performance over the compact size and vlogging related features. In this video we will take a look at how it works with iPhone 14 Pro and I will try to help you decide whether you should consider getting one. Smooth 5S utilizes non-folding construction with vertical handle and usual 3-motor setup. It weighs around 600 grams, so it is not the lightest smartphone gimbal, but it is not supposed to be. The extra weight actually adds to the stability, but we will get to that later. As I mentioned, it doesn't fold unlike the Smooth Q series, but you can lock all 3 axes, which is very useful for transportation. The handle is mostly made of plastics, but the quality of these plastics is definitely a level above something like the Q4 or DJI smartphone gimbals. The grip is rubberized and it has very nice grippy texture. This is the most premium feeling gimbal that I have used in a long time. It is available in this very stylish white Stormtrooper color scheme, which I like a lot. I have the base package, but combo options will be available as well. It comes with a small table tripod, which is not the best handle extension, but the grip on the gimbal is really good, so longer tripod is not necessary. The smartphone installation is very easy. The mount is deep enough so it has no issues with a flat edge iPhones with a reasonable cases. I have used it with my favorite Banks Kevlar case without any issues whatsoever. That seems like a trivial thing, but it is not, you can trust me on that. Unlike most recently announced gimbals, 5S has a sliding roll arm and I am very happy to see that. It is a lot more convenient than balancing the smartphone by moving it in the mount. Also, you only need to balance the roll axis once, so subsequent smartphone mounting is much faster and more convenient. You can use it for vertical shooting as well, of course, simply by rotating the mount. So how about the performance? As usual, please know that I am testing this gimbal with iPhone 14 Pro and your results may vary if you use a different smartphone. The performance of this combination is fantastic. As I've explained in my 14 Pro camera review, the built-in stabilization in 14 Pro is already excellent. Smooth 5S further smooths the movements and it takes care of larger movements that are beyond the capabilities of the internal stabilization. The performance in comparison to compact foldable gimbals is a bit better, which is in my opinion mainly caused by superior ergonomy and slightly higher weight, which contributes to the overall stability. The behavior of the motors is very predictable, so there are no unexpected jerks or anything like that. The performance also depends on the app. The stock app offers the best stability, but at a price of a very large crop. Using a gimbal makes a lot of sense if you are primarily using Filmic Pro like I do. It offers a much wider field of view with a less effective stabilization, but the performance in combination with Smooth 5S is excellent even when walking on rough surfaces. The responsiveness of the joystick is actually one of the highlights for me. The slow setting is really slow, so you can get very smooth panning with a 5S. The ultra-wide lens doesn't have optical image stabilization, but it has very effective electronic image stabilization, and here again it works great. Ultra-wide angle is easy to stabilize, so you will get extremely smooth footage. It is probably my favorite lens to use on a gimbal. With a telephoto lens, it works very well for panning thanks to that great joystick and also for static shots. That is probably all that I should ask from a telephoto lens. There are only 2 speed or scene settings, walk and run. Follow speed and dead zone settings in default walk mode are very reasonably set, so I don't really miss more in-depth settings. Overall, I am very happy with the performance of the Smooth 5S in combination with iPhone 14 Pro. I can say that it will also work great with 13 Pro and 12 Pro, which have very similar stabilization. The controls are also a standout feature of the Smooth 5S. There is a lot of them. First of all, there is a on-off button on the right side. On the front side, we have a joystick and a couple of buttons with different functionality. The mode button cycles between the follow modes and the button with the red stripe starts recording. The central button and the front dial control the LED light, we will get to that later. These buttons always have the same functionality regardless of the app that you use. Then there are function and menu buttons and 4 buttons on the dial. The functionality of these buttons depends on the app. For example, the function button switches between the front and the rear camera in Filmic Pro, but as far as I can tell, it doesn't do anything in ZY-Cami app. The menu button brings up the settings in Filmic Pro and creative modes in the ZY-Cami app. On the left side we have a wheel. It allows you to zoom or focus in both Filmic Pro and ZY-Cami app. You can also use it to change other settings. The button in the center of the wheel always locks it to prevent unintentional use. On the back side we have a trigger button. Triple press rotates the gimbal and holding it down activates the sports mode. Functionality with Filmic Pro is, in my opinion, extremely important because I think that a lot of people interested in this gimbal will use the Filmic Pro as their main video app. Regarding the modes, you have 5 modes available. You have the pan follow mode where the gimbal follows your panning movements and locks the other axes. In the lock mode, all of the axes are locked and the gimbal will keep the camera pointed in the same direction. In follow mode, the gimbal will follow your panning and tilting movements. POV mode is similar to the follow mode, but here the gimbal will also follow your rolling movements. The last mode is the vortex or flashlight mode where you rotate the camera to get spinning shots. Zhiyun's specialty are the lights on the gimbals. 5S has one integrated light and one separate detachable light. That one can be attached either to the top or the bottom part of the phone holder. You can turn the light on and off by long pressing the light button and you can use the dial to adjust the brightness. Especially if you use both lights, they are very bright, so besides the fill light, they can also be used for nighttime filming. Smooth 5S uses the ZY-Cami app and it is pretty good. It can shoot 4K up to 60p, including 25p option, which is extremely important for users in the PAL region. It also has HDR mode, which works pretty well. It supports slow motion video, motion lapses, and very useful panorama mode. The tracking also works great, and that is the main thing that I use the ZY-Cami app for. Smart tracking is one of my favorite features carried over from older Zhiyun gimbals. This basically means that you just need to press the trigger button once and the app will find a subject to track. It works great with faces and most other objects with no issues. The tracking itself is great. Much like with Q4, it is very smooth and reasonably responsive. This feature is very important for a lot of users and the S5 is definitely a good choice in this regard. It also has some nice editing features, filters and so on. I don't use those, but you can find out about those in tutorial videos from Zhiyun. I use the Filmic Pro most of the time, which works great as I've explained, or the stock app for the best overall stabilization. Smooth 5S has an integrated 2600 mAh battery. The claimed battery life is up to 25 hours, which is an incredible value. It still shows full bars after my whole testing, so I'm obviously more than happy with the battery life. The charging speed should be about 15 watts, which is very solid as well. To sum up, Zhiyun Smooth 5S is an excellent heavy-duty smartphone gimbal. It is currently the best choice for the users who are looking for the most capable smartphone gimbal. These users will probably be people who are serious about smartphone filmmaking or professionals such as journalists who use smartphones for streaming, for example. The performance in terms of the stability, responsiveness and the controls is the best that I have seen from a smartphone gimbal. The build quality is above the level of compact gimbals as well. I also much prefer having an option to properly balance the gimbal instead of moving the smartphone in the mount. There isn't really anything that I can complain about. It is a 5th generation product, which is definitely noticeable. With most manufacturers focusing on portable folding gimbals for vloggers, there aren't that many heavy-duty smartphone gimbals left on the market. Fortunately, Smooth 5S is a great one and it will be my main smartphone gimbal in 2023, which means that I can highly recommend it. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.